channel. Okay? This is Selman Possibilities whatever. No, really, this is Selman Now. And I've hijacked it. So this is my dad. And I'm Lauren, I'm his daughter. Here's the deal. Confessions of growing up with my dad as my dad. Okay? What people who are watching know is that my dad is revered as one of the top coaches in the world. And you can almost imagine, if I've got a dad talking about possibilities, you know, the world of possibilities, that's some scary shit. I'm living in a world of possibilities. Ah! So, I've hijacked this channel to give you guys an inside look about who my dad really is and what it's like to have him as a dad. So, ladies and gentlemen, here's my dad. I call him Boo. I call him Papa. You might know him as Jim. This is my dad. Dad, I have some questions for you.
Sure.
Okay, first and foremost, in your life, what has it been like to be a parent in the world of transformation?
That is a great question, which I don't think anybody has ever asked me. What is it like to be a parent? I don't even think I've ever asked myself that question.
Because truly, out of all of your jobs, the job you've held the longest has been being a dad. You've been a dad for over 50 years.
Well, it's funny. I think when your brother was born, I was much more into transformational parenting, and I had this sort of naive idea that somehow I could affect the way you kids turned out. And I remember one of the things I thought, we were in, I don't know, studying enlightenment or something in those days, and I thought, well, wouldn't it be great if you could grow up not trapped in time? And so I remember I very artfully said to myself, okay, how do I raise Clark so he's not going to be trapped?
P.S. Clark is my brother.
Yeah, Clark is your brother. And so this was all going to be great because I was going to just simply free him from the bondage of time. And then I remember taking him in my arms and putting him to bed and saying, good night, son, I'll see you tomorrow. And I realized that it's impossible. So at that moment, I think I kind of gave up on transformational parenting. I realized that you pretty much are going to turn out how you are. And that what I need to do is love you, be there for you, protect you, guarantee that you're educated. And that was all the doing of being a parent. But being a parent was really a process. I remember at one point Clark was having some difficulty. And I can remember sitting down on the curb in Santa Rosa and saying, son, can you teach me how to be your father? Because I'm exhausted, I don't know what to do. And in that moment, our relationship changed. In my relationship with you, I think there was a similar shift, or maybe we're still in the middle of it, but it was a place where I still had thoughts and ideas about how it should be, and how you should grow, and what maturity looks like, and what being a good adult looks like. And sometimes when I observe or have assessments that you or Clark are not matching my model or my picture of adulthood, that somehow either that's a statement about my failure as a parent or that there's something wrong. And I'm now very able to sort of let go of that sort of judgment, to be able to really accept you and Clark as you are, and not just simply as my children. And I think the shift, the best part about being a parent is when you reach that point where you realize that you've given birth to a fully complete, whole human being. And that it's only by the grace of God and circumstance that you showed up in my life. I didn't have much to do with it. And yet you've matured and grown as a woman in your own right. And I'm increasingly in awe of the way you've turned out. So it's a matter of being able to love you and accept you as you are. That gets me in touch with this kind of emotion, which is really beyond words. It's simply it's simply the blessing that you are.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And it's increasingly apparent, like I'm not a parent, but a lot of my friends are becoming parents right now. And I see them trying to do parenting. And it's hard. My best friend has a 1-year-old You know, I have other friends of mine who have adopted kids. You know, being in our early 30s, kids are the next landmark. You know,
I understand. I could see that.
That is happening. And as someone who's choosing not to have kids right now, I'm seeing all of my friends transform. And so I'm very touched by the impact that having a child has had on you. And I've also had people come to me and say, you know, Lauren, it's been like, you turned out really well. I want to know what your parents did to have you turn out so well. You know, and so to that point, like, what would you, or what advice would you give to these new parents in raising their kids?
I guess the first thing I'd say is don't ever doubt that it's a privilege to be a parent. You know, and that it's a honor and a responsibility, but it's a real privilege. And I think it's the sooner in life you can connect with them as human beings and not as your children, the more enriched the experience of parenting will be. I regret in many ways there were many things we didn't do, or where we didn't spend time together, or where I wasn't there for you. And those are times that I kind of wish if I could roll back the clock, I'd perhaps make different choices then. By the same token, I've never doubted that was okay with you, and that you gave me the space to be doing life the way I was doing as well. So I think parents are more likely to judge their children than their children to judge their parents, at least until they become teenagers.
My experience of you is that I'm getting to know my father more and more as an adult. You know, I see you with your step-grandchildren, and like, you're great with kids, but I feel like you're much better with adults. And so as I become more an adult, I'm having the opportunity to get to know you more, which is fascinating and wonderful and intriguing and interesting, and being partners in life rather than having an authoritative dynamic.
I would argue with that. I think that's actually true. Fortunately, you were kind of a good person following the rules, so you didn't create too many issues for me. But I think that to the extent that children resist their parents and that the parents are trying to control their children is really the source of a lot of mischief.
So in our next episode, I want to record our phone calls, because one of the best things I think about having a powerful father, but really a powerful man in my life, is my ability to pick up the phone and call you wherever you are in the world.
You're welcome to record anything you like.
So the next thing that we film, we'll record one of our phone calls.
Okay, you got it.
Because one of the things that you always say to me at the end of every phone call is you always say, Lauren, do you need anything? And when I was little, I didn't know what that meant, and I was angry and upset, and I would just say no, and I would push you away. And when a father or a man in our life says, do you need anything? It's really an opportunity for us to actually express what we need.
That's true, and also an opportunity for you to let our love in without a lot of self-judgment.
Absolutely. Well, I love you.
I love you.
Thank you for taking the time to be with me. Thank you for being my dad.